Hi and welcome to the section on delay. In this video I want to touch upon the most basic methods of adding delay to your track, in the same way that we added reverb previously. And the two effects are actually related in one way or another. A delay unit takes the incoming signal, stores it, and then repeats it back at a time in which can be determined within the delay itself. So as you'll see here in the mixer, I already have a delay send set up, and we're going to be demonstrating using the clap just like before. So first of all, let's open Delay Bank, which is in an FL Studio native plugin. And just like before, I'm going to go around each parameter and break each section down bit by bit. But before I do, I'm just going to use the arrows in the upper right hand corner here to scroll through some presets and give you an idea of some of the sounds that can be achieved through delay. So now let's go back to the preset folder and choose the default. And first thing first, let's just remove the dry signal from the delay and keep the wet at maximum so that none of the original signal is coming through in this end. So the first thing you'll notice here are the 8 banks along the top of the delay, each of which feed into one another in a chain. It's a bit too much to go into detail with them in a beginner's course, so today all I want to focus on is the first bank and the tab that we're currently on. So each bank contains a series of processes that go in order, beginning with the in, then the filter, feedback filtering, grain and out. So the first two parameters in the in section are panning and volume, both of which are fairly self-explanatory, but let's just quickly move them and hear the changes. And then that's just volume. And next up we have the filter section. So currently the filter is switched off, but if we click and drag it, we can change the filter type. Again, I'll not go into too much detail, but if I move the first filter type up, you'll see it says LP. And this stands for low pass, and it will cut the high frequencies out of the signal. So if I go down to cutoff, this will determine whereabouts the frequencies will cut off. So let's play the sound and move this parameter to give you an idea of how it shapes the sound overall. And I'll keep the cutoff at about 50% and turn the resonance parameter beside it to full. So what resonance does is boost the frequencies around the cutoff point so that it produces this almost sonar effect. And it's something you can get quite creative with, but let's leave the other parameters in this section and move on to feedback for the time being. So first in this section we have the time slider, which determines the time between echoes. Then we have a stereo offset function, which offsets the time slightly in the left and right channels to create a wider sound. And the third slider here is a stereo separation function like we had in the reverb, and converts the sound from stereo to mono. So let's just quickly go through some of these settings to give you an idea of how they all come together. So above the sliders we have 4 switches, 3 of which determine how the stereo information will be perceived. Let's go through them and see if you can notice any difference in this particular instance. So there's not really much going on there, so we can go on to the feedback filtering section. And this does exactly the same thing as the first filter module, only it's dedicated solely to the repeats or feedback signal. So let's choose another low pass filter and alter some of the parameters to get a feel for how this shapes the delay sound. So again, this is just working on the delay repeats. So the resonance in this section is quite a fickle parameter and easily over applied, so just be careful with it. And next here we have an interesting section called grain, and this is a form of what is known as granulizing, and perhaps some of you have heard of granular synthesis. So this is a topic best left for another time, but let me just quickly give you a brief overview. So this section will essentially chop the signal into small samples known as grains, and we can use the first division slider here on the left to determine how much chopping actually occurs. Then the slider next to that alters the shape of the chops, and really just feel free to experiment as much as you like with these two together. And finally here we have the delays output section, which like the input section is entirely self-explanatory by this point. The next parameter should be activated when using the bank mode, but like I say, I just wanted to keep things simple for this basic introduction, and so hopefully you understand the principles of delay a little bit better by now. Again, feel free to tweak these parameters in whatever way you wish, so experimenting for yourself can help give you a better feel for what's actually happening, and may even produce some interesting results at this stage. So in the next video we're going to take a look at the effects chain and a bit of filtering, so I'll see you there.